Hello everyone. 대한민국 영어감잡기 프로젝트 데미안과 함께하는 너쉬영북 시간입니다. 이번 시간은 10강 리딩이고요. 32쪽부터입니다. 블루와 핑크로 표시되었어요. 자, 읽어볼까요? I had filled the piggy bank with play money and replaced it in my mother's desk. No one asked for it, but the possibility that they might never left my thoughts. What frightened me even more than Cromer's brutal whistling was my mother stepping up to me. Wasn't she coming to inquire about the piggy bank? Because I had met my tormentor many times empty-handed, he began finding other means of torturing and using me. I had to work for him. He had to run various errands for his father. I had to do them for him. Or he would ask me to perform some difficult feat, hop for 10 minutes on one leg, pin a scrap of paper on a passerby's coat. Many nights in my dreams, I elaborated on these tortures and lay drenched in a nightmare sweat. For a while, I actually became sick. I vomited frequently and came down with frequent chills, yet at night I would burn and sweat. My mother sensed that something was wrong and was very considerate, but this only tortured me the more, since I could not respond by confiding in her. One night, after I had gone to bed, she brought me a piece of chocolate. It reminded me of former years when, if I had been a good boy, I would receive such rewards before I fell asleep. Now she stood there and offered me the piece of chocolate. The sight was so painful that I could only shake my head. She asked me what was wrong and stroked my hair. All I could answer was, "No, I don't want anything." She placed the chocolate on my night table and left. The next morning, when she wanted to ask me about my behavior of the night before, I pretended to have forgotten the episode completely. Once she brought the doctor, who examined me and prescribed cold baths in the morning. My condition at the time was a kind of madness. Amid the ordered peace of our house, I lived shyly, in agony, like a ghost. I took no part in the life of the others, rarely forgot myself for an hour at a time. To my father, who was often irritated and asked me what was the matter, I was completely cold. Cain. My salvation came from a totally unexpected source, which at the same time brought a new element into my life that has affected it to this very day. A new boy had just been enrolled in our school. He was the son of a well-to-do widow who had come in to live in our town. He wore a mourning band on his sleeve. Being several years older than I, he was assigned to a grade above me. Still, I could not avoid noticing him, nor could anyone else. This remarkable student seemed much older than he looked. In fact, he did not strike anyone as a boy at all. In contrast to us, he seemed strange and mature, like a man, or rather like a gentleman. He was not popular, did not take part in our games, still less in the general roughhouse, and only his firm, self-confident tone toward the teachers won the admiration of the students. He was called Max Demian. One day, as happened now and again, an additional class was assigned to our large classroom for some reason or other. It was Demian's class. We, the younger ones, were having a scripture lesson. The higher grade had to write an essay. While the story of Cain and Abel was being drummed into us, I kept glancing toward Demian, whose face held a peculiar fascination for me. and observed the intelligent, light, unusually resolute face bent attentively and diligently over his work. He didn't at all look like a student doing an assignment, but rather like a scientist investigating a problem of his own. I could say that he made a favorable impression on me. On the contrary, I had something against him. He seemed too superior and detached, his manner too provocatively confident, and his eyes gave him an adult expression which children never like, faintly sad, with flashes of sarcasm. Yet I could not help looking at him, no matter whether I liked or detested him. But if he happened to glance my way, I averted my eyes in panic. When I think back on it today, and what he looked like as a student at the time, I can only say that he was in every respect different from all the others, was entirely himself with a personality all his own, which made him noticeable even though he did his best not to be noticed. His manner and bearing was that of a prince, disguised among farm boys, taking great pains to appear one of them. 오늘 10강 리딩은 여기까지입니다. 제가 이틀 전에 데미안 200% 활용법 그 사이드를 올렸습니다. 여러분 그거 꼭 한번 챙겨보시고요. 이왕 하시는 거 정말로 여러분 200% 효과를 얻으셨으면 좋겠습니다. 자, 오늘 영상이 여러분이 영어의 감을 잡는 데 도움이 된다면 구독, 좋아요로 알려주시고요. 더 좋은 영상을 만드는 데 큰 힘이 될 것입니다. 여러분 감사합니다.